So, money saving tips. What we're going to do this time, though, is we're going to go, because I've got a feeling we've probably got quite a lot of the same ones.
Possibly. I think I've revised which one I'm going to start with. The one that I probably did the most when I was first getting into the hobby.
You go first
What?
with your first one.
My first one was when I first got into doing Warhammer stuff. I think Rogue Trader, and for maybe the second edition as well, and definitely when I got back into it for fifth, I found it quite prudent in some situations to just use household items as proxy models.
Oh, Proxytastic. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So we had like a TV remote control as like a barricade. There was the classic 2 books and a book on top for a hill.
Oh, yes, of
So you
course.
had like a 2-story hill.
Yep.
I think we had like a bean tin for like a silo kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
So
yeah, back in the day,
that was
we
cool.
used to just use books under a piece of cloth for a
Yeah,
hill.
we just got rid of the cloth because the model slid off it.
Yeah, I mean, like in one-offs and stuff, I don't think there's any problem with proxies at all. You want to
No,
try
it's fine.
something, you don't necessarily want to drop 50 quid on it to find out if it works.
Exactly.
I ain't got a problem. If I rocked up at a tournament and somebody did it, it'd be slightly different. But I
What's
don't, I
this?
don't, I don't play tournaments, so
What's this salt and pepper shaker hastily sprayed golden?
I remember.
Oh, that's Dante.
I
Oh,
remember.
well done. I think.
So yeah. I mean, proxies is a good one. I think.
Yeah.
It's not my number one, which is good. So we haven't crossed over yet.
Good.
My number one is no. Don't buy from GW Direct.
Yeah.
There really is no need. There are plenty of discounters out there.
That was so obvious to me. I didn't actually put it in the list.
I thought it'd be your number one. I was like, I'm going to let him go
Nice.
first, and then I'm going to have to scrabble for a different number one. But yeah, no, that's my number one. Is do not buy from GW. Back in the day, there were not as many discounters. GW did not offer the amount of trade varieties, and the online shopping wasn't a thing. So for the vast majority of stuff that I wanted, I had to go to a GW and pay GW prices. These days, there is absolutely no need to do that. There are some items that are GW exclusive, and for those, I'm afraid you are going to have to fork out the GW prices for the most part. But you can easily put an army or something like that together without ever having to buy anything from a GW. No problem at all. And you'll save at least 15, maybe up to 20%. And that makes a lot of difference. And I don't think... I think it's different. Like if you're maybe first getting into it and they're doing a lot for you and they're really helping you out. I don't know if GW stores do this anymore, but we used to back in the day. Certainly when you get to the grognard stage that we are, I see very, very little point in going into a GW and buying anything from there. And certainly not their website. So yeah, that's my number one. Don't buy from GW Direct. There will be lots and lots of different companies out there, discounters. Hell, even a lot of stores, like actual retail stores these days, have a stack of Warhammer stuff that they sell cheaper. So have a look, and you'll save money every single time. So that's my number one. What's your number two, dude?
Nice. My other one was kind of 2 rolled together by looking at it, and it was to strip and reuse old models, whether you've like salvaged them from eBay,
Okay,
or
yeah.
whether they're like your old models from if you've been into the hobby for a while and you very first got into it.
Yep.
Or like a while back, and you did like a paint job on it when you were 15, and you look back on it and you're like, oh geez, like clearly doing this one as a spotted cow wasn't a great idea.
Dude. So stripping and reusing models. Yeah, that's
yeah,
good.
strip and reuse old stuff so that you've got an old model with like a new paint job. It can proper bring it back to life. I mean, it may be a slightly shorter model than what all the newer ones are, depending on how old it is exactly.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good one. Yeah, I like it. My second one was, so it does lead on to yours quite nicely because you did actually mention it. Buy pre-owned, eBay.
Yeah, that was one of my others.
You will get stuff cheaper. I will say, caveat emptor though, buyer beware, because sometimes you will end up with an absolute fucking horror show. It can happen. Be careful. Not everybody puts the care into assembling their models that they should do. I have bought pre-owned models, be it off eBay or Facebook, and they have basically looked like they've been put together by a retarded chimpanzee.
Although, to be fair, some models lend themselves more to that than others.
Mm.
And as I've said that, I've turned around in my chair and I'm staring right at my fucking Forge-World Storm Eagle.
Oh, did you let a retarded chimpanzee loose on it?
No, it's
No,
fucking awful to put together.
Forge World's a bit of an exception because they are
Yeah.
bastards to put together. I sold my Forge World Storm Eagle because I didn't want to put it together.
Like, I love the model. It's such a pain in the
Yeah.
ass to get right.
GW, make one in plastic,
Please.
please. Please make one in plastic. A fell blade too, if you would be so kind.
Double, please.
Yeah, but I know I'm talking about like normal plastic models where they've just not bothered cleaning them up. They've not cleaned off any of the burrs off the sprue, so the model hasn't gone together properly. But I've had stuff that's been over plastic glued, so it's like all the stuff's melted and there's plastic glue dripping down the sides. I've had the same with super glue. Just, be careful. You can save money buying off eBay, but especially with plastic models.
like the poor guy in Robocop coming out of the toxic waste.
Kind of like that, yeah. Especially with plastic models, you just don't know that you're buying off somebody who's not a complete muppet. So make sure that you've got good photos. You can always ask for more photos. Yeah, just a caveat emptor there. So what's your third one, dude?
Well, my last one.
Oh, for God's sake!
is a bit of a cheeky one.
Yep.
And especially lack of effort. Try using contrast paint if you want to save money, because you buy less paint.
Yeah, okay. I mean, this does tie into one of mine, kind of, but not quite the same. So yeah, okay, cool. Well, none of yours, your paltry efforts, have actually been the same as mine, which is quite nice. Apart from maybe that last eBay one. So contrast paint. Okay, yeah, I get it, because you need less paint. You don't need a wash and a base and a layer and all that kind of stuff. You just slap it all in one. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, you don't need to get multiples of really similar colours for blending and stuff like that. It's just on it goes.
Contrast kind of works in the way that it was marketed, and it kind of doesn't. Like it works on things like fur and armour.
It very much depends on the model.
Like detailed sort of like chainmail armour and stuff like that.
Yeah,
not
flat
great
areas,
for flat areas and Space Marines. It really isn't. When we were at Warhammer World last week, I got Mike to get a bottle of Rattling Grime. That's the one. It's a lovely mix in between black and brown, and I just water it down with contrast medium and kind of use it as a wash. It's one of my favourite paints. But yeah, Rattling Grime, grab some, man. It's really good. Yeah, it's really good. Just water it down with either a little bit of water or contrast medium if you want it to really flow into, sort of like a more contrasty way. And it is an excellent paint. So that's a good. I mean, you only did 3, but I think all 3 of yours are very good. And
it was 5 originally.
Lies.
It just didn't survive contact with the enemy.
My third one is actually quite similar. It wasn't technically my third one, but I'm going to move it up so they go into each other. And it'll be thin down your paints. Thin down your paints, and also only get out as much paint as you need. If you get out a load of paint onto a palette, like a normal palette, and it all dries up, you're just wasting money.
Yep.
There's no point. So thin down your paints so they dry a little bit slower. You can use a wet palette so they dry even slower. And also only get out as much paint as you need if you've not got a way of keeping it wet longer. Because generally, unless you're doing base coating or something like that, you're only using very little bits of paint at a time. Especially if you're painting details or if you're doing highlighting, particularly like edge highlighting, you just don't need that much paint. You really don't. And a low paint does tend to last a long time. And I've got paints that, I've got a bottle of Mithril Silver that's as old as my time in the hobby.
You can tell it's not one of Games Workshop's newer paints because it's not fucking dried up.
28 years. But yeah, thin down your paints. Only use as much paint as you need. And that will also lead on to something else a little bit later.
After your brushes.
Because, you bastard. You can't steal that. It doesn't count. But yeah. 2 things. 1, look after your brushes. So get some Master's brush soap and use that to clean your brushes. It's not expensive. It's like £5 and it will last you, again, forever. I've had mine for like 10 years. Use it to clean out your brushes. Also, along with the paint thing, don't let the paint hit the ferrule if you can help it, because it will fuck up your brushes. Buy yourself some cheap workhorse brushes. Do not use your Kolinsky brushes for base coating. Go on Temu, buy yourself 50 odd synthetic brushes for like £5.
disposable brushes.
Yeah, it's what I did. And then I just use them for base coating. And then when they're too knackered for base coating, I use them for texture paint. So yeah, buy yourself some cheap workhorse brushes because you can just bin them and you're only binning a couple of quid rather than 15, 20 quid for a bloody Winsor & Newton Kolinsky, which do last if you look after them.
If you look after them, yeah.
Another one I had, pick up
I've got the last one.
pick up bundles and starters where you can.
Yeah.
A lot of them tend to be FOMO, unfortunately, or only available while stocks last. But
I'm going to hijack that point slightly, and I'm going to say that also includes some of the limited edition boxed games.
Oh, right, yeah.
You could have got, like, Prospero or the Calf box, and
Yeah,
you'd have got,
totally.
like, 30 or 40 of the damn things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure.
And you could be like us and never, ever play the boxed games.
Exactly
but just use the models.
But no, you're right. I mean, they don't do so many of those limited edition box games anymore, unfortunately. And some of the spearheads for Age of Sigmar still look good because they're still like £87.50. They haven't had the 40k tax applied to them.
Right.
So yeah, that was my next one. Basically, where you can get the bundles, get the starter sets again from a discounter, you get 20% off. You're saving on top of saving. It's going to be worth it. Is only buy what you need. To anybody who's new, who's starting out in the hobby, I don't know why you listen to us, but congratulations, you've chosen well.
You have chosen wisely.
But just buy what you need for now. GW have made it so that there's millions of different choices per armies, and the idea that you're basically going to buy one or two of everything, and GW are going to make all the money.
Plan your force.
Yeah, plan your force first. Stillman it. Do the Stillman version. Plan 2,000 point army, buy that army, buy nothing else ever, coat it with 2 coats of varnish, and learn to use it.
Yeah.
You could do that in the old days. I don't know about these days. But yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, don't. As much as the bundle starters and I think do save you money, and they do, don't always fall into the FOMO trap and end up buying loads and loads and loads of shit. And as I say, biggest hypocrite in the world, because both me and Matt have thousands and thousands of models, but we kind of learned the hard way, and these days it's much worse from GW than it used to be back in the day. But these days, GW want you to have massive armies.
Yeah, as the game's got simpler and quicker to play, they want you to put more models on the table.
Odd that, isn't it? Yeah. So yeah, that was another one I had. And the last one with regards to models, magnetize.
Yeah, definitely.
Don't necessarily magnetize everything. If you're magnetizing tactical marines and you're magnetizing every single option, probably not really necessary and probably not worth the amount of time to put into it for the amount of money that you would save.
Yeah.
In that case, like Max says, just proxy it. Just tell your opponent in advance, these aren't assault bolters, these are stalker bolters or whatever. But certainly with big kits like dreadnoughts and knights, anything large, some of the monsters, for example, like Hive Tyrants, switch those options out. You don't need to buy 4 of the same thing to field all the different options.
No.
And magnetizing is also fun.
A good tip there is to mark the magnets so you know which way around you're putting them on.
Well, what I do is I just have a stack of magnets. So I have a line of magnets all together, and I just paint one end.
Yeah.
And then I just make sure that end is always facing me as I put a magnet onto the model.
Yeah.
And then it will always be right.
Yeah.
I won't be sad.
Do one model first, and then use that one model as the basis for doing the magnets on all the arms.
Yes.
So you just go, that one, new arm for that model, don't next arm, don't next arm, don't.
Exactly, yeah.
And then once you've done all the arms, use one set of arms as the basis for the body for a next model and just do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, don't get the priorities wrong, because digging out magnets is not fun. I thought strongly about putting 3D printing in here, but I'm not going to, because it is a whole different outlay. And we've done videos on 3D printing before, and if you want to look at those, you can do. You can find them. I might even remember to link it in the description. Spoiler, I'm not going to remember to link it in the description. So my last one is similar, though, and it is that there are an awful lot of books required to play the game now. And in my opinion, these books are not worth the money. If you want to buy the books and you want to support GW, all well and good. That's absolutely fine. I don't think that GW make good enough books to buy, in my personal opinion. Sometimes the campaign books are a bit different. They come with a load of extra like cool fluff and stuff like that. They can be worth buying. But in my opinion, codexes are not fucking worth buying. The new Blood Angels one seems to be an absolute joke.
But then you saved it. I find that specifically applies to like the 40k and maybe AOS, but I'm not familiar enough with AOS to comment. But when it comes to specialist game stuff like Heresy and Epic and stuff, they're a lot more resilient to this nonsense because they get far less rules updates.
They do, yeah. No, absolutely. You buy a Horus Heresy
solid
campaign book, and it's not going to be wrong in 2 minutes flat.
No, and the law's much better as well.
You know, and there is some very good lore in it. Yeah, I mean, the last one I read, the Destruction of Beta Garmin, the lore was fantastic.
Yeah,
that was all I read because I don't, I don't play the game, but the lore was very good. So yeah, that's my last tip. But yeah, certainly if you guys have got any good tips, chuck them in the comment below. Pure talent. Right, I'll catch you later, dude.
Cheerio.
Bye.